Hello, my friend. Welcome to today's podcast episode. At the time I'm recording this, it's the week of Thanksgiving. So this will upload a little past the week of Thanksgiving, kind of before Christmas time, very much likely before Christmas time. But I'm going to talk to you guys about what I do to reflect, reset, and really recalibrate myself for the new year and end of year. And do I do resolutions? Spoiler alert, not really, but there are some things that I do that are kind of over the top, but some very, very simple to be intentional about the upcoming year. And so with that, I want to express my gratitude to you as a listener. I really appreciate you listening to the podcast, sharing the podcast, leaving ratings and reviews, engaging with me on Instagram after you've listened to an episode and some things really resonated. The podcast is a passion project, and it's something that I still do for fun. My main source of income is from the production of other people's podcasts, and I still very much enjoy sitting behind the mic and talking to you guys. And this year has felt even more fun sitting here behind the mic because it really feels like I can just connect, converse, and have conversations with you about relevant topics for those of us that are moms and we've got a lot on our plate when it comes to home and family, kids, career, activities, extracurriculars, and all of the above. And I just really appreciate this space as an external processor where I can talk to you guys and share and still make a difference and an impact in such a unique and special way with the way that you guys listen to on a weekly basis. And it also has made Patreon really, really fun. It has brought the creativity and spark that I needed as somebody who has been podcasting consistently since 2018. I mean, can you imagine just sitting behind the mic talking to yourself? Some of us have the gift of yapping, and I would say I'm definitely one of those where it's not hard for me to sit down and turn on the mic. While this is no longer necessarily a business endeavor, it's kind of a passive business endeavor at this point, I still really appreciate your support in any way that it has been by you listening or sharing with a friend or sharing on social media or leaving a rating and review or becoming a Patreon member. I just want to express to you how much I love this podcast, how much I love how it's evolved to be kind of a hodgepodge of all of the things and all of the topics. And I really appreciate you for being here. But let's get into how I am setting myself up for the new year. Welcome to Living in Sync. This is a wellness and lifestyle podcast for ladies in their 30s. We've got a lot going on, and on this show, we're going to talk about it all. I'm your host, Joelle. If you're into health, wellness, fitness, beauty, fashion, business, career, time management hacks, organization, girl chats, goal setting, mom things, and everything in between, I hope this show supports you in whatever you need today. Let's dig into today's episode. 'Tis the season, and I hope that you are enjoying it. I know that when I sat down to make my December schedule, I was chuckling at myself, and I'm like, you know what? This is where we put into practice taking one day at a time, recognizing that there are going to be some balls dropped, things that we forget, and things that we put to the back burner unintentionally and intentionally, and get through this season. Because wow, even as the kids get into school, there are a lot of things that are easier and less amount of energy and effort. But then there are also a lot of other things that add even more onto your plate, like things I didn't anticipate at all. So I hope that this is a breath of fresh air for you during this time of the year, kind of mid-month in between the holiday season, and not to get too far ahead on adding more for you to do by January 1st, or you're going to be behind. Because my first tip, and the thing that I am doing, like I said, I'm recording this a little bit before Thanksgiving, but for me, taking time to reflect and go through my camera roll and think about 2024 as a collective year and really feel into the gratitude. I was talking to my husband last night, and we were saying like, oh, like New Year's is around the corner. It wasn't a big, huge conversation, but I was expressing like, man, 2024 was a year where there was a lot of trials, challenges, grief, and just a lot. Well, also, I can very much see how there was a lot of really special moments, big and small. There's a lot of things to celebrate. There's a lot of things that were quote unquote forcefully changed for us, and it will change the trajectory of our lives. And we don't know how things are going to work out or what's going to happen, but we'll definitely say like, well, if that wouldn't have happened in 2024, then this path, this plan, this direction may not have ever presented itself. So I'm starting, even right now, to, when I pray gratitude for this year. I pray for the strength. I pray for just appreciation of what this year has been, even in the ups and downs, even in the hard times, even in grief and walking through really, really, really hard things. And that's where I start. And that's really this week. All my prayers have been is I've gone through my camera roll. You guys, this is just a really, really great time. Maybe in January. So you probably don't have to put this on your to-do list, but maybe one cold evening in January. I do have a podcast episode on my Patreon called How to Winter. It was inspired by a book title I saw. I haven't read the book yet, but I wanted to share how to enjoy winter, but let's not go on that side topic. You can go to Patreon if you want to listen to that. But I think a really good thing to do, maybe on a cold night in January, is go through, and I know on Shutterfly, I think you can get up to 100 free prints, and make a 2024 album and print out some pictures. Go old school and print out some dang pictures and put them into a old school like photo album, my friend. My kids love looking through those. I need to update them. I don't think I've done this for a couple years now. I won't even say how many because embarrassing. But I have the ones of when they were babies, and they love looking through them. So go through your camera roll, clean out the things, the screenshots that you don't need anymore, but really just scroll through your own phone to anchor into gratitude, reflection, and prepare your heart to prosper in 2025. And that's been my second tip. So the first one was to, with gratitude, reflect on this year. And the second thing is pray. I have been praying my heart out for 2024 in gratitude. And I've also been praying already for 2025. And one of my favorite things to do is actually in the front cover of my paper planner that sits on my desk, I write out a prayer on that front cover. And I've done this for 2 years now, but whenever I really feel like I need to ground myself, I just flip the pages, open this prayer, and it's just an uplifting and encouraging prayer. I'm not going to read out my whole prayer. I'm sure I will share this on the Patreon sometime this month when I talk about my Dreamers Summit, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I write out this prayer, and it's really connecting me, and it's a grounding prayer for me to remind me what matters, remind me to anchor into what it is that God's plan and path for me is. So the second thing was pray. Third thing is I do my Dreamer Summit. And this year I'm actually planning to do this with one of my local entrepreneur friends. And this is something that is a part of the Horatio printing planner that I get. So it is a faith-based series of videos that helps you and guides you in getting centered. And there's a lot of prayer. You also set up your planner, but if you don't have this specific planner, you can do this on the pages of a notebook and then go into some different parts of prayer. But it's just a series of videos. And, if you don't have access to this, you could definitely just use this podcast episode as a little mini reset for you to reflect, reset, and recalibrate to set yourself up in 2025. And so listen to some encouraging things. Maybe for you, it's the Dream Planner. I've talked about it for years. It is faith-based. It could be this podcast episode. There will also be other podcast episodes about end of year. And there's even local events. So check out Eventbrite and see if there's maybe like a women's summit going on, a goal-setting women's summit going on. I mean, if there's one in Fargo, North Dakota in January, there's going to be likely something somewhere where you live where you can attend. There's online entrepreneurs that'll be hosting various things, but really have something kind of support you in creating and recalibrating what it is that you want upcoming in 2025. So like I said, I will write out my prayer for the year. I actually will likely do that at the end of the Dreamer Summit. So I'm going to have my girlfriend come over. We're going to have snacks. We're going to go through the videos that are for 2025. We'll kind of go through the system of setting up the Dream Planner and how it's planned out, because it works in a quarterly category. So it's not that I'm setting even goals for the whole year. I'm setting goals and recalibrating quarterly. And as I've turned the pages of my planner, I'm always reminded at the end of the month, there's a section to have reflection. And at the end of each quarter, there is a different spot to calibrate and reflect. So actually, I'm not even setting full-on fledged goals for the whole year. I'm focusing on one quarter at a time. So I will set that up, and then I'll write out my prayer for the year. Some people pick a word of the year. I like to sit and savor in my prayer for the year. Like I said, I know it's in the front of my paper planner. Maybe you could write it out on a piece of paper, and it could be your bookmark for the book you're reading, or the spot in the Bible where you're at, wherever you want to put it, where it's kind of always around you. And it's not that I'm doing this prayer every single day. It's really, I lean into it when I know I need it. And I've already been praying for, like, God, please guide me on the goals that you want me to have for myself. Please speak to me. Please help me with whatever direction you want me to go. And then I think about what I want this kind of theme and flavor to be for me this year. And like I said, it's really subject to change, but I'm always recalibrating, because I would say at the beginning of 2024, I did not see this mental toughness journey happening for me. And it's been my complete focus in Q4 of 2024 and has drastically changed my life. Even certain situations happened this morning, and I'm like, I am so proud of how I am handling things emotionally. And I didn't have that on my 2024 plan, but I do kind of ask myself a few questions, and this is one of, this is my year 2, and see what kind of answer comes up for me. And like I said, I'm going to recalibrate this on the day I do my Dreamer Summit. I usually do a Dreamer Summit recap on my Patreon and share what comes through. But I can already tell for some reason that what's coming through is, this is my year to challenge myself. And there's a couple ways physically that I want to do that. But when it comes to every other area, I'm like, I've not necessarily been taking it easy the last 4 years, but have I really done things? Have I really worked towards something that is a challenge outside of what I know is already doable? Like, I'm just going to say it, like me setting my goals of running a 5K 2 summers ago in the summer of 2023 or 2022, that was easy peasy because I was already in pretty good shape to run a 5K without even training for it. But there are some goals that I have for myself that I'm thinking and wondering, like, is this my year to really push myself physically? And I'm already praying, because as I say that, I'm working on my hip and lower back locking up. Like when I do a typical workout, that's a very typical workout for me, is strength training, my back locks up the rest of the day. And so I'm still navigating and trying to figure out how to fix this and make it not be something that's just like, I go to the chiropractor, give it a rest for a little bit, I work out again, and it happens. And it's kind of been this dance back and forth. Anyways, story for another day. But as I even say, is this my year to challenge myself? I'm like, well, how are you going to do that with your lower back and hip? You're crazy. But it's still just sitting on my heart. I very much feel it sitting on my heart. And the next tip is have set points quarterly. So I really, really, really think that setting goals for the whole year, like, nah. I want to set goals, set intentions, set focuses, set certain deadlines, or try things and not say I'm dedicating the whole year to it, but focus on things 1 month at a time and 1 quarter at a time. And this is not an ad at all for the Horatio Planner, because actually I think it's a planner that's not for everybody, but I really like it. And I like that there are the set points of quarterly processing, quarterly resetting, quarterly recalibrating. And that's life, because I'm even looking at something I did last year on my Dreamer Summit day was I created a 2024 bucket list bingo card. And I've crossed off 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 of those spots. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, but there are still ones where, like, yeah, those ones we crossed off, I still want to intentionally do. I actually already know I'm going to be doing 2 of those in December just because they're already on the schedule. And I thought that was really fun and different to do. But once again, it's something where I'm like, whether I do or don't, it's okay, right? So it was a really fun thing I did in 2024. I don't know if I'll make a 2025 bucket list bingo card. It was just something I saw on TikTok that I was like, hey, this seems fun and really cool. And it was really cool at certain points of the year to X things off, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing it again. It's just hanging on like a cork board in my office. And so sometimes I would be editing it, I'd look up at it and think, oh yeah, I can X that off because we did that. But I don't know if I'm going to be doing it again. But another thing I want you to reset and recalibrate with is thinking about your routines and how, if you do have goals or if there are certain things you want to focus on, how can you set realistic routines for you so they are something that you stick to? We achieve our goals by being disciplined in our routines, period. Somebody may be able to deliver that in a more juicier, nicer way of saying it, but the truth is it's your daily habits and routines that determines how your long-term goals and lives is going to play out. Because if you're saying, you want to see, like if I said I wanted to run a half marathon, but then I don't prepare myself at all, if I don't become dedicated and disciplined to working my days around when can I get a run in, then I'm not going to get to that goal of running a half marathon, right? It has to boil down to daily routines. And you don't have to scroll too far back on my Instagram, but I talked about this in the beginning of 2024 that, let me pull up the post here in just a second. It is a post that is a picture of me. I believe it's black and white, and it's a carousel. So scroll 2 photos over and it says my 2024 routines is workout, shower, get ready, mom life, Bible study and plan day, dive into work, PM routine, stretch, shower, journal, read. And I would say I stuck to those routines most of 2024. And I also could get better at them because oftentimes and also at the time of this, what I was trying to do was shower and get ready while my kids were still home. And now I just realized I don't have to start work until 9 on my computer. So I have from the time that they're off to school until 9 a.m. It made way more sense for me to shower and get ready during that time. And then I kind of habit stack my Bible study, personal growth, whatever it is, and planning my day on top of my getting ready for the day, if that makes sense. So I set these rhythms and routines, but they have changed a little bit. And I don't shower every night before bed. I've kind of gotten out of habit with stretching before. Well, actually, I got out of the habit of stretching before bed, and then my hip and lower back pain started and locking up my lower back, and stretching and doing some mobility work has helped a lot. So I've been putting that at the end of the evening. So I'm actually back into that routine now. And oftentimes I'm not reading anything because my husband and I are now watching the show Lioness, and Yellowstone is back on. So that routine isn't necessarily rigid, but it is a rhythm that I've adopted, and it is in alignment with my priorities and my goals. And so think about those new routines, because you become the new version of you by setting new routines and habits that are just things that you do. I always think of that water bottle analogy. If you want to be somebody that's super fit and healthy, and you think of what do super fit and healthy people do, and you realize all of them are carrying around water with them 24/7 and drinking lots of water, you get yourself a water bottle and you start carrying it with you wherever it is you're going. And tell me you don't drink more water just by adopting that habit of always having water on you. And it's those little things. And like Corey Lee talked about in the episode that we did together, where she's like, oftentimes we're expecting ourselves to do 50 things to see and make changes in our lives. And it bombards and rattles so much internal BS going on that we don't stick to it. Well, how do you start sticking to something? You start small. Start small with those habits. Maybe for you, it's not this big, long nighttime routine, but it's just starting to do your skincare at night. You want to be the type of person that has, really nice glowing skin, and you're going to be, now you just know, no matter what, I'm doing my skincare at night. And start with that one habit. Start with that one habit. I created that 2024 habit and system and routine when I was already in the habit of taking a shower and journaling at night. And so it was really me wanting to stack stretching, showering, journaling at night, and reading more I put at the tail end of it, because it's just kind of a good way to end your day. And the last question I want to leave you with, because we've reflected, we've talked about recalibrating, and now I want to really have you set yourself up to looking forward and taking in. And I guess we didn't talk about it much, but when you are in reflecting of 2024, remember to reflect on the things you learned, the things that you really learned through hard lessons or life experiences. But what are those things that you really, really need to lean in and learn from? But to end and think about forward and think about 2025 is think about where in life that you want to elevate. Where in life do you want to see drastic change? Where in your life do you want to see things be completely different a year from now? And if the answer is I don't know, that's okay. Just sit and think on it. When you ask your brain a question and it's I don't know, change it to, I don't know right now. I don't know right now. But allow yourself to keep thinking on it. For 2025, this can be something physical, mental, emotional. And trust me, I've seen a lot of people try to start with making the big physical changes and transformations in their lives, only to feel like there's not a lot of substance there. So don't think it's a small feat to focus on something mental or emotional. If I'm talking about what in your life do you want to see elevated in 2025? And if it's something mental health or emotional or anything like that, don't think that that's not as good as a goal of, running a half marathon or dropping 30 pounds or something like that. Because oftentimes when we start with the internal, the physical, the outside, then follows suit. Because and I saw this a lot when I was a health and fitness coach, where the people who approached their health and fitness goals with the mindset of, I'm going to make these changes, and then once I've seen the progress, when I've dropped the 10 pounds or when I've whatever, then I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. I'm going to go back to drinking what I used to drink and eating what I used to eat. It would be this lose, gain even more. And it was just always this up and down yo-yo. But when it started with the internal, and it started with, I really want to feel good on the inside. I want to feel confident about myself. And I'm going to work out because when I'm working out, I feel really proud of myself. I feel really strong. When I'm eating well, I get more energy. And with that good energy, I'm going to do more really incredible things. I'm going to show up better in all the places that I need to show up. And then they may be more gradual, but they gradually see, 4 pounds gone, then 2 more pounds gone, then 3 more pounds gone, then 1 pound gone. Then they kind of stay the same. Then they're thinking about, how can I really even level up and elevate even more? Well, I know that I'm still using food to cope in the evening, or I know I'm still having some mindless snacking going on in the evening. That's making me not sleep very good. So I'm going to start changing and eating enough at dinner time so I'm not even hungry. It's just making these small shifts from an internal perspective, not just an external perspective, will lead to lasting change. And especially this year this time of year in the health and fitness and diet industry, there are going to be supplements and pills and programs and this and that and the other thing that's going to be promising you like this is going to be the thing. But oftentimes, as somebody who had a career in the health and fitness field for 14 years, I'm still a certified nutritionist. I'm telling you that it's when the internal changes first, or when the internal factors, the intrinsic factors are more of a pull than, or more of a draw, or more of a motivator than the external factors. Like external factor is seeing 10 pounds down on the scale. External factor is being in a swimming suit on an upcoming vacation. You can drop and lose weight and see changes by having that external factor. But what's going to keep you going, keep the weight off, keep the progress moving forward is going to be when you're like, I want to feel really strong. I want to feel really fit. I want to have more energy. I want my hair, skin, and nails to be glowing again. I don't want to feel so dang tired all the time. And you start making choices and start making changes in what you eat and what you do in the day-to-day, because you're like, oh, I know going on a walk is actually going to give me more energy. I know going on a walk is actually going to lower my stress instead of snacking on these things. I know that eating these foods that are high in fiber, or this meal that's high in fiber and protein, is going to leave me feeling so much better. You're going to make choices to drink less because you know it affects your sleep. It's making decisions from a different space and place. And when you're making decisions from one place or the other, you'll see lasting change, and the other one you won't. So I hope this has been helpful to at least just help you get reflective on 2024 with the gratitude and the lessons and the life that was lived in this year, and think about the right now and recalibrate to where you want to go and what you want to do and how you want to change and grow or elevate, make things better than they already are. Or maybe you just want to continue and lean into some of the amazing things that you've already made changes for in your life by starting with small, significant changes in your habits and in your routines. Thank you, my friend, for listening today, and I will talk to you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you loved what you heard or you want to share your favorite episode topics, please leave a rating and review. This helps the podcast growth and gives people an idea of what the podcast is all about. Something new and exciting that I wanted to share with you before we go is that we now have a Patreon page. This has replaced the Feminine Edge collective community in a cohesive place that is easier for me to manage and cheaper for you. If you are interested in our monthly classes, exclusive day in the life vlogs, Bible studies, community Q&A, and more, go to patreon.com/livingInSync and join for just $5 a month. Check out the show notes for any links or details of things referenced in today's episode, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next one.